just think of one thing here that I'm seeing on the score. This is a little cliche. I'm going to take a little out. I'm just going to put it in parentheses because I'm not convinced of that one marking you have in there. Right. Lots and lots and lots of good things. It's basically there, I'd say about 99.5%. It would seem that a 0.5% is a small thing, but it can make the difference. One of the things I notice, and this is just a question of final polish, is sometimes ends of certain phrases get a little not quite as drawn out so perfectly. And that's a very easy thing to fix, because what's happening is you're not giving yourself enough time. You're rushing towards the end because it's work and you're getting tight and you're thinking already of the next phrase. So you jump from one to the other because you don't want to miss you don't want to alter the flow and you don't want to alter the rhythm, but sometimes you do need the breath. You know when we talked about the Cloche de Genève, and you sort of found that slightly Zen place. Even in a piece like this, which this particular etude suffers from being turned into a virtuoso show horse rather than a tone poem. And I find it interesting, Rachmaninoff seems to have gotten his preludes and his Etude-Tableaux turned around, because I always find that the preludes have a much stronger virtuoso element and the Etude-Tableaux have a much more symphonic tone poem element. So I find these more musical and the other ones more athletic in a funny way. This one gets done as a very athletic piece, and to me it's a shame because it's so rich and so dense in all kinds of effects that giving it that virtuoso side, you lose some of the poise and therefore you lose some. In this case, it's a tiny, tiny little thing. I mean, they're really, really, really small details. Do you want to just start? Can we do a start and stop session? Yeah. And I'll start and stop. I'm probably not going to stop you very often. And they're little things, but put 5 or 6 little things together and they become a thing. So let's try. I'll tell you what, so far, your tone quality has really improved from when I heard this last. And it's in a much more manageable space from the point of view of the listener. You're not bombarding anymore. You're actually showing things, and that's already made a huge difference. So bravo for that. And now let's just pick up the tiny little leftover things. But good for you. You saw how these were just ever so slightly, almost, purely, just slightly place them better. So give yourself a fraction of a second there. Sound on the bells is fantastic because you're not pushing the instrument beyond its limit. So you're getting a really nice, fat, beautiful, round sound. Keep that. And so it's just a... Give yourself time to breathe and relax. But don't control the movement, just give yourself time for the movement. That's the difference. A little bit more. Actually breathe. Physically raise your diaphragm and your rib cage. Almost. Now go back to the beginning, because I think now you've got it. See? You're now giving yourself the time for that breath, but you're stealing it from the end of the previous phrase. So now it's the end of the previous phrase that's suffering. You don't have to take it from anywhere. You can actually add to it. Yeah? So that neither of them are, yeah. One last time. Perfect. That's it. Same thing here. Exactly the same thing here. Not only for the actual physical placement, but to let the sound dissipate. So you can come from a good, healthy mezzo forte to a really good piano. You just need the time. It is that, isn't it? Yes. Same thing here. No crescendo, no diminuendo, exactly. So finish it properly. Go from a... Same thing. Because you're working with different sections of the orchestra, they need that little bit of time, reaction time. So you see how they're tiny, tiny little things, but they'll give you that extra confidence. So you add extra confidence into the mix, and ooh, it just starts to take off. I want to go from... Enjoy that. Careful here that you don't slightly kill the right hand by the left hand. And one missing ingredient. You haven't cracked a smile all morning. It changes things. It's neuroscience. If you're all serious because you're trying, no. Changes the chemistry in your brain. And this has a sense of humor, exactly like here. If you're not smiling, you're tense. The smile actually breaks the physical tension. You need it. Apart from any visual thing for an audience or whatever, you need it to unclench. You're very tight this morning. You hadn't have enough of me making you smile. Do you want to go from... Yeah. It's relaxing the wrist. If you tighten up because you're trying to control it, yeah, it's counterintuitive. Relax as you get tough. Perfect. That piano is subito. It's a complete surprise. Don't come down here. It's not. It's the same way. Yes. Don't push. Don't push. Enjoy this. Rather than... Because you have this... And then you have... And you have a... If you can make it all audible, and you're giving the piano time to speak, then you've got a really interesting performance, because there's lots for the audience to listen to. It's not about speed or agility, it's about letting everything shine through. Because here it changes. So this very light. Remember, he puts allegro moderato. You don't have to be in a hurry. Really enjoy it. You want to go from... Don't rush. You know what? You know how you can stop yourself from rushing? Bigger wrist staccato on the left hand. The more you do this, the more time you need for the gesture, keeps you from rushing. There's something marked here that I completely disagree, because it changes the phrasing. It makes the left hand the same throughout. Here I would do only with hand, because the left hand is the same. It's one line. Here, yes, the pedal. But here, it's just the right hand that does it. That you can do with your hand. But if you do this, look how it changes the line. Or the pedal makes an accent in the left hand where it doesn't happen. So you have an entire two bars that become exactly the same. So there, I really wouldn't. Sorry. Yes. Take your time. Take your time. And here, don't rush. This was fantastic, what you just done. And then when you get... I know there's no change in tempo, but there is change in character. He writes "li stesso tempo," means don't slow down, but it can't be the same way it was. So here, and it's quieter. Somebody's put more here. Yes, more so that you don't do pianissimo. I get that. But it's a bit too much in the same character. Without changing tempo, see if you can change the quality of the sound. See if you can change the level of energy without changing the tempo. But bring it in. Can you go from, is that comfortable? you know what? There I really wouldn't put pedal at all. If anything, un accord on this one, because it's a loud clangor, but... So it's not... Yeah, the last one isn't, but the others are. Exactly. Perfect. And then you no, don't push it. More melodic. No, passionate. Change. Now here, the smile is an absolute must. And it's got to be a slightly wicked, naughty smile. And this is just little... So it's like a little music box gone slightly strange. And then, this is the difficult part, is not the actual notes, it's this. So it's not. That's not enough. But, so it speaks. And no crescendo at all. Stay with only here. So this one with the accent and the other one with the staccato. And then really stay piano. And I would only really start to add the pedal as the crescendo starts to get big. Then open up the sound box. So all of this is actually very slightly Scarlatti-ish light. And lots of wrist staccato. So you need that slightly wicked sense of humor. Yeah, that one that's threatening to come out, but you're not quite letting it. Do you want to go from here? Relax. Yeah, exactly. You're right. But don't rush it. Take your time. You see how you're rushing? You're getting tense. Relax. Enjoy it. Fantastic. Da 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 da. No lighter. Fabulous. Relax the left hand. Now slowly start adding the pedal. Open. Yeah, and then you're really open. Even when you're doing this, don't forget. Don't just bring out the first note. You actually have to do the phrasing. Rather than. That's putting a little tenuto line on it. This is actually free. Because then this one doesn't, and then it just feels a lot bigger. So that's the long one. And here, don't push it. Where from? You tell me what's comfortable. Okay. That's the one thing I don't like. To me, that's the one thing that really comes off as a cliche, is that stop there at the point. He's being ruthless. He's been building this thing up for the past, 8 pages? 8 pages. That's the big thing. And all of a sudden, I'm not sure. To me, it's cliched. Go, open the floodgates. It seems a bit precious. Go from, oh God, this piano, Go. No, do not come down. Go big, go all the way to the end. From here, just go all the way to the end. This fermata also, ridiculous, cliche. Absolute cliche. Go, be ruthless. There's no crescendos here. If there's crescendo, it means that wasn't enough. And the crowd goes wild. Otherwise you're constantly giving, no, not at all. Can you go from here? Make that piano shake in its little legs. Zak, fine, but at the end, use upper body mass into it. Push in, don't muscle in. Just use all your upper body core strength. Wait. Yes. That's it. And you feel the difference, don't you? All of a sudden you're on top of the world and nothing can stop you. You just grow into this kind of weird superhuman thing. That makes a big difference. How does that feel? Free. Yeah, that's the main thing. You have to be free and you have to feel free in order to control. The control actually comes from the freedom, not the other way around. And there are things that you're just, this just gives you power because things are flowing out of you. And that's going to be an amazing performance. That's what you managed to do in the list. You actually stopped doing this. You gave. And because you gave, physically you were in a position to give because you'd relaxed. What happened was that you were then personally free to start giving out the music. And that's what floored everybody yesterday. I mean, you saw that lady talking to us at the end. I mean, she was about ready to keel over from joy. Because you freed everything. You opened up all the floodgates. You were able to do what you wanted to pianistically. You made that piano sound better than it deserved. But the main thing was, and this was what made the difference for me yesterday, everybody played their piece. You know what it feels like. You come in, you play your piece, you do what you learned in the masterclass, you know, you did what your teacher. You sat and gave a performance. It was a totally different mindset. You were in a different place. That's what you're going to do today with this, because you're going to let it go. Let it do what it needs to do. And it'll tell you what it needs, and you will be flexible and free to give it. So there's a dialogue with the piece. It's not just you putting out. Yeah? Bravo to you. I've been saying that a lot this week. You're getting predictable. What else do you want to do? We've got about 20 minutes, which is a lot. Yeah? Which would you prefer, either or good? Haydn? Yeah. Haydn. Well, yeah. So you'll play this tonight, yeah? Yeah. Fab. So if you manage to clear this up a little bit, take some of the makeup off.
Yeah, I just need to read that.
Yeah, you need a new copy, because this thing, you could barely see the notes anymore. We've all written so much on it. I'm surprised you could read the notes. So yeah, get yourself a clean copy. Just print one out and, you know, bind it. And yeah, just take some of those makeup remover wipes and let it come out again. We've kind of buried it. But imagine yourself playing on either a square piano or a nice little Nanette Streicher or a Stein or a Walter Stein from the period. Not that I'm asking you to play a modern instrument how you would one of those, but try to recreate the atmosphere and the sound quality without, playing on a little late 18th century instrument, but try to recreate the aesthetics, the feel, the agility, the sound world. Starting like everybody does is positively ridiculous. It just, it's silly. It'd be like, well, it's kind of like these modern opera productions where you have Palestrina done in downtown Dresden in 1984. I mean, what's the point? There's so many ways to tell a story, but going to that extreme seems a bit silly. And doing it in 20th century German slang on top of everything else. It just kind of meh. So try to recreate the setting, but on a modern instrument. You can do it. here, just because we don't have that much time left and I want to help. Two little things. The pedaling for me isn't helping, it's getting in the way. It's making things sticky. It's making your natural articulation and diction go a little bit, speaking with your mouth full. Also, you're playing them as little tight ornaments. A little bit more melodic. And things like where we were, a little bit your Prosecco's running out of bubbles. It's still a little bit, for me, it's too much in the keyboard. To me, it's a little bit Steinway technique on 19th century German repertoire. It's 18th century, not 19th century. It's a totally different type of action, and it needs a totally different type of diction. You're 3/4 of the way there. Tempo's good. Volume is good. Weight is a little bit too much. And pedal is actually getting in the way of all the things that I see you building. It's hampering you, it's not helping you. Do it with the fingers. Let the fingers speak. But for that, make little sparks. Feel like you have little sparks coming out of the fingertips, but the fingers themselves have to be quite flexible and quite free. So it's more sort of a reflex type of articulation. But lighten everything up. Like I said, you don't need to lighten up volume. Volume was good. But wait. Play off the keyboard rather than into the keyboard. Imagine you're playing a very, very early Bechstein, or a Blüthner, or a Bösendorfer. Not a Steinway. There are certain pianos that are not intrinsically so good for this repertoire. Just because of their nature. It's not that there's anything wrong with them, it's just character for character. You need a slightly faster, lighter instrument for this kind of repertoire. So even if you're playing on that, you have to play with the qualities it has that are closest to this. So yeah, think very early Bechstein or Blüthner or Bösendorfer. Those are the three that have the lightest, more bubbly character. And stay that. So yeah, play off the keyboard. Don't be afraid to sing out. Very good. Now smile. Here's another one. It's the other way around. It's only the first pair. So I'm doing this because this piano just screams, but if I do them all the way through, and then You need to smile. It relaxes your muscles. Trust me, there is a neurological side effect. So I'm not just saying it for you to show off your teeth. Go from there. Yum, bum, bum, bum. Very good. Everything up. Here's the other thing. This is the other thing I don't agree with. These little tenuto marks. In order to get the right sound, and in order to get the right sound, the right diction, and to continue that idea of playing off the keyboard, the rests need to be active, not passive. The rests need to be something that is physically tangible rather than a place where nothing happens. It's a place where you lift. It's a place where you breathe. It's the place where you inhale. It's the place where you regain the energy for the next phrase. So they become active members. Right now it's still rather than. So make every single rest musically active. Make it mean something and accomplish something. Give it a task. And that will just lighten everything. Yeah? Carry on. Just carry on. You're doing fine. These are tiny little finish. Relax your shoulders when you play that. Smile. Rather than doing all these other things, I'm seeing a lot of markings here that just subdivide and subdivide and subdivide and subdivide, and this is becoming a patchwork quilt. Why not just the whole line down? It's silly. That's what I'm saying. It's busy. Because what does that is the left hand, not the right hand. You see what? Again, crescendo there. Why? The surprise is this. Here it comes. Why? This stuff happening in the right hand that's been added on, it's taking you away from what you're supposed to be hearing. It's made this important. All the ambulances in Paris, thank you for their representation in this sonata, but it's this. Because now you switch. It's looking for the solutions inside the score, not outside the score. Everybody looks for all the answers outside. It's a problem even with the persons themselves. We tend to look for the answers to our problems outside ourselves. Musicians do it outside the score. It's inside. It's all already inside us. Same with the score. Look at what actually is there. He could have so easily written all those markings. Didn't. That tells you it's somewhere else. Want to go from... is that a good place? Don't crescendo. Now. Relax. Now do the same thing. Do the same thing, but enjoy the rests. And for Pete's sakes, if you don't smile, I'm gonna hit ya. Because you go into the wrong mood. There's this sense of excitement. If you're all, it doesn't come out. You're repressing it. Let loose. Here's why you need to let loose, because it's actually what's inside you that's interesting to the audience. You happen to be one of the lucky ones that what's inside you happens to be very interesting. The scary thing is you're sharing all your insides and who you are with an audience. Well, welcome to the world of music, and you do it extremely well. So let it out. That's what's fascinating. That's what really puts you head and shoulders above the rest. That's your secret weapon. You know, when you ask me why me, exactly that. Why you? Because it is you. Let it out. Yeah? So smile when you do this. Anywhere you want. Now right hand. Surprise. Hold it. Now, total surprise. Nah, you kept it down. You kept it like that. Inhale really well. Use the rest to fill your ribcage. If you actually do that, you don't need that crescendo and diminuendo, which is fussy. Don't do it there. Breathe before and have inertia. Then you don't need the crescendo and diminuendo. Breathe. Yum bum bum, yum bum bum, bum 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 bum, yum bum bum. Short, now long. Surprise. Rests. Long. See what you can do with the left hand? Careful, there's some weird notes going on there. A flat. Yeah? Something wasn't, yeah. No accent. Because it's not the end of something and the beginning of something there. It's still the connection. Go from anywhere you want before that. Maybe from the... A flat. There you go. You know what? It's it's a little bit sweet and candy cane. Give it a little spark. From that whole thing, da 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 dee da, da 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 dum, da da dum, bit before, dee da da. Get a little more excited. Ba da dum, da da dum, dee da dum, da da dum, da 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 dee da da dum, da 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 dum, da da dee da. Articulate. If you articulate, you won't rush. You're rushing because you're... If you articulate, it won't, because if you don't, you've got nothing to hold. So you really have to articulate and enunciate. Smile. Yeah, if you smile, it'll happen. But don't rush. Stay up. Now contrast. So. You're in E flat major. Then. So. Sorry? Yeah, I mean you can keep it going, you can do the piano, but what you need to do is keep that active. What you do afterwards is in a funny way less important. Yeah. That's okay. Keep it going. Relax your hand. There you go. Ya pa 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 pa. Other way around. Be joyous. Now you're going romantic. You're finally in E flat. So. Rather than. No, diminuendo. Dom, pom, pom. Surprise. Why all this legato? I wouldn't do legato. All this legato just kills it.
No, it's just because the staccato on first.
Yeah, but staccato's there. This is it. But it's not. There's various levels. Don't worry. You've got enough difference. Breathe. Breathe. Now, surprise. Relax your shoulders. Sink into it. Now. All the way to the end. But take the right hand all the way up too. When you get all the way to the top, somehow the left hand gets there first. Keep the right hand on top. And end in the air. That's it. It just has a huge breath of fresh air now. It was getting a little bit, what do you call it? Greenhouse flower. I can only live in a greenhouse. Now it can take a huge draft. And it's enjoying the sunshine. The cobwebs and the mold are going away. You're basically going to have an audience get to the end of that movement with a Haydn sonata and go, what's next? And then you have a fantastic contrast to it. Then you can do it. Because if that's too fussy, that has nowhere to go, because you've done it all. Remember, it's a movement of a sonata. So don't use all the tricks in the first movement, because you run out of stuff to do. And then you're up a creek without a paddle. Good?
Yeah.
When's the next lesson?
That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question of the day. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.